Are you using a metal spoon to scoop your matcha powder? There are a few reasons why you might want to be using a Chashaku spoon instead. In this video, we're going to be talking about what the Chashaku is and why it works better for matcha than a normal metal spoon. Before we get started, it would really mean a lot to us if you could subscribe to the YouTube channel and stay tuned for future tea videos. We have hundreds of tea videos on all sorts of topics related to Japanese green tea, but for this episode, we're going to focus on the Chashaku specifically. Without further ado, let's get started. What is a Chashaku? The Matcha Chashaku is a bamboo spoon designed to scoop matcha powder during the Japanese tea ceremony. Although the origins of this bamboo Chashaku date back to the tea ceremony, the Chashaku is now used by matcha lovers all around the world. Although it has a simple design, there are a few features that make it the perfect tool for scooping matcha, which we'll discuss soon. The name simply translates into tea scoop, with cha meaning tea and shaku meaning scoop. The other two important tea utensils used in the tea ceremony are the cha sen, tea whisk, and cha wan, tea bowl. History of the Chashaku. The Chashaku originated in China. If you're familiar with the history of Japanese tea, you will know that tea was originally brought to Japan from China by the monks. The Japanese monks would frequently go on missionary trips to China to learn techniques and philosophy from the Chinese monks. They found that the tea they were drinking helped them stay alert during long periods of meditation, and they eventually brought some tea back to Japan. The tea being consumed at the time was mostly ground, similar to what we now call matcha. Of course, with ground tea, it becomes important to have a good spoon to scoop the powder, and the Chashaku scoop was a necessity. These tea scoops were originally designed out of metal or ivory, and they were introduced to Japan during the Muromachi period from the 14th to 15th century. Eventually, tea masters and monks found that wood was a more effective material to use for the Chashaku, and the bamboo Chashaku was born. Benefits of the Chashaku. A Chashaku should be about 18 millimeters in length, long enough to reach into a container, but short enough that it can be easily wielded. The spoon is almost completely flat, with the exception of a 48 degrees bend at the end for the scoop. The Chashaku gets wider towards the scoop so it's able to hold more powder. This more vertical design makes it easier to scoop matcha powder out of a more cylindrical container. During the tea ceremony, the tea is brought inside a natsume or tea caddy. This tea caddy is a deeper container and it would be much harder to scoop out of it with a typical metal spoon. When you prepare matcha tea at home, you will most likely be scooping the powder out of a matcha tin. Here you have the same problem, as the matcha tin is a deeper cylindrical container. You need something that you can easily dip in and out, like the Chashaku. Another benefit of the bamboo Chashaku is that it's not made from metal. Most spoons are made from metal, and this is thought to react negatively when it comes in contact with the matcha powder. The Chashaku is made out of a slender piece of bamboo. The smooth outside of the bamboo is on the interior, and this is what is in contact with the matcha powder. On the exterior, you have the rougher part of the bamboo with the grains of wood. This has been sanded so that it has a smoother texture, but it's still not quite as smooth as the interior of the scoop. Finally, the Chashaku scoop is actually a great measurement tool. Later, we're going to discuss how the Chashaku can be used as a measurement tool and how to use the perfect amount of matcha powder in every bowl of matcha tea. What is the size of the Chashaku scoop? If you ever take part in a Japanese tea ceremony, you'll notice that the tea master uses 2 scoops of matcha powder in each bowl of matcha tea. This may seem like an arbitrary amount of powder, but the Chashaku scoop size is a surprisingly accurate way to measure out the tea. The matcha Chashaku is much more elegant than a teaspoon measure, and if you get the technique down, it can be almost as accurate. One heaping Chashaku scoop is equal to about 1/3 of a teaspoon of powder. By using 2 scoops of the Chashaku, you are between 1/2 and 1 teaspoon of powder, which is the perfect amount for preparing matcha in the usucha style. As you will find out, the Chashaku measurement is an accurate and convenient way to measure out your matcha powder. Why is the Chashaku so small? As we mentioned before, the Chashaku scoop size is about 1/3 of a teaspoon, which is perfect for measuring out the matcha powder. The reason it is so small is because if it were any larger, it would be difficult to maneuver in and out of the matcha tin or natsume. The design is perfectly minimal, and the small Chashaku scoop size makes it easy to use and practical as well. How to use the Chashaku. Using the Chashaku is quite simple. All you have to do is hold it by the thin part, just like you would a pencil, and dip the scoop into the matcha container. It makes no difference whether you're using the Chashaku in a matcha tin or natsume, as they both have the same general shape. Next, push the edge of the Chashaku into the matcha powder until you have as much powder on top as possible. You can then simply lift the Chashaku scoop out of the container and very carefully place it over the matcha bowl or matcha sifter to dump it out. The hardest part about using the Chashaku is keeping the powder from falling off. It is very easy to scoop, but once you have a lot of matcha powder piled on top of the Chashaku scoop, even the slightest mistake can cause all of it to come falling off. It may take a lot of practice until your hands are steady enough to scoop the powder without dropping any. How to clean the Chashaku. During the Japanese tea ceremony, the tea master will clean off the bamboo Chashaku with the fukusa. This towel is kept completely dry, and it's meant to purify the Chashaku, not only physically, but symbolically as well. Purity is one of the 4 core principles of the Japanese tea ceremony, and one of the ways it's demonstrated is through the purification of the Chashaku. You can do this as well at home to clean your Chashaku spoon. The most important thing is not to get your Chashaku spoon wet. Because it's made out of bamboo, the water will really soak into the Chashaku and cause problems over time. As long as you're only using it for matcha powder, it should never really get that dirty. Just simply wipe it off with a dry towel or tissue from time to time, and you should be able to keep it nice and clean. Of course, you will always have a little bit of a green tint to the Chashaku scoop, but this just means that it's well loved. How is the Chashaku made? Just like with the chasen or bamboo matcha whisk, the Chashaku is made out of a single piece of bamboo. A single strip is taken off of the bamboo, and then it's slowly shaped and carved to have a bend towards the bottom for the scoop. If you briefly take a look at the Chashaku, you can tell that it resembles a stalk of bamboo. The notch in the middle has become a key design feature called the arigashi, or ant's back hump. This was introduced by Sen no Rikyu in the 16th century, and now it's the standard across Chashaku spoons. Many Japanese tea masters choose to carve their own Chashaku to bring them a deeper level of connection to the teaware. The face of the Chashaku is smooth and sleek, whereas the back of the Chashaku is slightly more rough, like partially finished wood. The Chashaku has an aroma of young bamboo, which can enhance the matcha making experience. Where can you buy a Chashaku with a matcha whisk? You can get a free Chashaku when you order the Chasen matcha whisk from us. The Chashaku spoon is a small but important tool when it comes to matcha preparation, and we give it for free in our matcha bundles. When you sign up for the monthly matcha club, for example, you will get a free Chasen matcha whisk, a free Chashaku matcha spoon, and $75 worth of matcha delivered to you every month. This is a great way to not only try some of the best matcha teas from all over Japan, but also get all the tools you need in order to prepare them. If you would prefer to try the teas all at once, you can try the Matcha Sampler Bundle, which includes 21 different types of pesticide-free matcha tea, as well as the Chawan Matcha Bowl, Chasen Matcha Whisk, and Chashaku Matcha Spoon. When you order, you're not only supporting us, but also the dozens of talented farmers that we have the privilege of working with. It would really mean a lot to us if you could go to neoteas.com and help to support our mission of providing quality Japanese green tea with people all around the world. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. Until then, we'll see you next time.